Inception, released in 2010 and is directed by Christopher Nolan, who is behind such masterpieces like the Dark Knight trilogy, Interstellar, Dunkirk, and that mind-blowing little picture called Memento. The film stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Ken Watanabe, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page, Marion Cotillard, Tom Hardy, and Michael Caine. Because Michael Caine has to be in every single Nolan film out there. Hello, I'm Michael Caine. I love that my interpretation of Michael Caine is basically like a puppet. Hello, I'm Michael Caine. I'm Michael Caine, everyone. And this is episode 80 of Caleb Watches Movies. We are getting so close to episode 100, and along the way today we are talking about a movie from my favorite director, Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan, not a big filmography, but every single one that has come out has been extremely impactful. And he's done some other pretty substantial films like The Dark Knight, which is still hailed as one of the best comic book movies to date. He did Interstellar, which was a little bit more divisive amongst fans, but I really enjoyed it. But probably the one that he is most widely known for is the film Memento. Memento is about this guy who has short-term memory loss, and the film basically is going in reverse. I mean, it's going in reverse, but in terms of like linear structure, it's going like in sequential order. It's a mindfuck. And it was so groundbreaking at the time, way ahead of its time, that I don't think majority of people have actually seen that movie. So when I'm thinking about a movie that was so widely loved by majority of everyone, I have to go with Inception, because that one is also a mindfuck, but also it was nominated for Best Picture. Leonardo DiCaprio plays Dom, who is an expert extractor. And extraction is the art of stealing something from someone's mind. Whether it's a secret, a security number, a passcode, they are able to extract it from someone's dreams. But then Watanabe shows up and he wants Leo to perform Inception on a rival business owner. Inception, the idea of planting a thought into someone's mind. So now Dom assembles a team of ragtag extractors and inceptors to implant a thought into Cillian Murphy's mind. However, some things are going terribly wrong, and it's found out that if they are killed in the dream, they go into a limbo state, possibly never waking up. So back in 2010, when this film was coming out, it was being hailed as such an amazing, wonderful, original idea, and yeah, looking back on it, it's still an amazing original idea. I mean, let's take a heist movie, but then let's do it inside the mind. Just, what other movies did that? Well, besides the J-Lo thing. But this is one of those movies that makes me just extremely enthralled the entire way through. I am fascinated by this group of characters that we have, and I'm fascinated by this whole scenario that this film presents. Thieves who are able to extract thoughts from your dreams or to implement thoughts into your dreams. Just what a cool idea. So you have this amazing idea, and then you have such a wonderful, mastery, visionary director like Christopher Nolan behind it. Yeah, this is going to get a 5 out of 5. So why is Christopher Nolan my favorite director? Well, that's fairly simple. He has the same kind of theme throughout all of his films, and that's time. In some form or another, there's always some kind of concept or misconception of time in each one of his movies. In Memento, time is basically going in reverse. Insomnia deals with an older, retiring cop kind of, over his time. The Dark Knight trilogy deals with escalation over time. And then you have films like the following, Dunkirk or Interstellar, that are just like total non-linear structure pieces. Non-linear structure meaning that there's not a connective tissue between point A to point B and then point B to point C. It kind of bounces all over the place until it all reveals itself at the very end of the film, and that's why I love him. And everyone, I just want you to know that I'm fighting off something right now. You probably hear it in my voice, and you probably see it around my nose area. I'm fighting it off. My energy might be dipping throughout this review, but I'm gonna try to push forward. So time is definitely a reason why I enjoy Christopher Nolan's directing style. I also enjoy him because he does these big blockbuster pieces, but he does it very practically. He has stated that he's not a big fan of visual effects if they're not needed. And that's why I think films like the Dark Knight trilogy and then also Inception are so beloved by fans. Practicality means that there's a tangibility to what's going on inside the film. In particular, in this film, we're in the second dream stage, and we're in that zero gravity fight scene. The room is tilting clockwise, see, again, time, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is fighting off the defenders of Cillian Murphy's mind. It's such an amazing and beautiful fight sequence. And actually, that's something that the 2011 film X-Men First Class did not want to be associated with. It's been documented that the director of that film went to see Inception and was like, wow, that scene is really cool. shit, we're doing the same thing. I guess there was supposed to be a scene where Professor X was fighting with his mind, and basically the room was going to be doing the exact same thing. So they were like, well, we're going to retool this because we're not going to be accused of ripping off Inception. And then the way that he paints the screen with all these optical illusions, it's absolutely beautiful, and it's really why I love filmmaking. You just see a visionary and an artist like Christopher Nolan at work, and you're just inspired to either go to the movies or start making your own thing. Plus, Christopher Nolan surrounds himself with A-list talent, so how can he go wrong? And he does it every single time. He actually uses the same cast members a lot in his films. People like Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Tom Hardy, who appear in several of Nolan's films, and their chemistry back and forth with each other is probably the best that I see in this film. They're constantly bickering, but it's bickering out of mutual respect for one another. Tom Hardy is kind of improvising his lines a little bit, like when they were shooting that grenade launcher. Don't be afraid to dream of something a little bit larger, darling. Ellen Page in this movie serves as kind of like the window for the audience to get into this world, because she asks a lot of explanatory questions. Because this whole concept of stealing people's dreams or implementing thoughts into someone's head can get very complex. And then you get into the idea of the dream within a dream within a dream within a dream, and time just begins to be stretching, and then you have to get yourself kicked out of one to get into the other, to get into the other. It can get very confusing. And she's there asking these questions for us. Well, wait, whose dream are we in? But if we go down there, isn't time gonna be much slower? Wait, how can you find someone that dies and goes into limbo? I basically see Ellen Page's character as the response to all of the edits that this script went through. So Nolan is writing the script, he has his ideas, he has the dialogue, and he turns it in, and then all the editors come in and like, oh, well, wait, what about this? Well, if they do this, wouldn't this happen? And then I think Ellen Page's character was created to kind of shut up all of that editing talk. And another amazing performance from Leonardo DiCaprio. Gosh, you know, he is just fantastic in everything that he is in. Is there a bad Leo role out there? I don't think there is. He just has that leading man facade about him. He's dashingly good looking, but he's also very relatable, and you relate to every single one of his characters. And I love that no one has come out to explain what happened to his character at the end of this film. And this is going to get into a little bit of spoiler talk for this film, so if you haven't seen this, please stop right now, go watch it, and then come right back. So at the end of this film, in typical Nolan fashion, there's a little bit of a twist on time again. The audience leaves the movie questioning whether that Leo DiCaprio's character is actually still dreaming or if he's in real life. And this has been debated amongst everyone. No, he's still dreaming. No, he's in the real world. His little spinner was tilting at the very end. And what side of the fence do I lean more on? I lean more onto the side of he's not dreaming anymore. He's in reality because he finally gets to see his children. But really looking back on this film, it really doesn't matter what we think. The idea is that Leo DiCaprio's character accepts that this is his reality. Whether he is dreaming or whether he's in the real world, he accepts that this is his life and this is where he's gonna be. Because I'm sure Nolan got tons of questions and is still getting questions today what the ending is. But to his credit, he's basically saying, it doesn't matter what you think, all that matters is what Dom thinks. And another thing that I like about Nolan, and I've kind of touched on this already, is that he hires talent and he sticks with that talent. He doesn't really go to a new crew from film to film. He keeps everyone basically the same. In terms of casting, the majority of his cast stay the same. Marion Cotillard shows up several times in his films. Whoa, Marion Cotillard. She is drop-dead gorgeous. But he also sticks with the same people behind the scenes, like Hans Zimmer doing the score of all of his movies. Hans Zimmer, probably one of my favorite composers living today. Mainly his score for this film is mainly known for and even though that Nolan is a very practical director, when he does get to the visual effect world, it's beautiful. When Ellen Page's character is developing and creating and redesigning the dream in Leo's mind, it's beautiful to see. Just playing with different gravitational pulls and dealing with different optical illusions again. And all these visual concepts go back to Inception, that when new movies that try to, add on top of it, like a film like Doctor Strange, they kind of get compared to Inception. Even though this whole idea totally made sense for Doctor Strange. Guys, I don't know if you can tell, but I love this movie. I love Christopher Nolan. I feel my energy starting to drop, so I think I have to wrap this up here. So in the end, guys, Inception is an absolute masterpiece, and it's one of the many masterpieces that Nolan has produced over the many, many years that he's been directing. It's an incredible, original idea, taking a heist and doing it in a dream sequence, and I love that each of his movies kind of build off of each other. He has several cliffhangers in his film, but he makes those films as sole entities. He doesn't try to make them part of a franchise or part of a universe. So really, if you take like the Dark Knight trilogy, each one of those films can be separated on its own. He did Batman Begins, then he did The Prestige, then he did The Dark Knight, then he did Inception, then he did Dark Knight Rises. He kind of didn't have much intentions of making it back to back to back. I absolutely love him for that decision. It's not about the money, it's not about the cash grab, it's about the artistic endeavor. And when you have a director who is constantly writing new films and producing new films, trying to come up with new, different ideas, I mean, how can you not be inspired by an artist, by a director like that? This cast is incredible. Tom Hardy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page, Marion Cotillard, Leo DiCaprio, they're all magnificent here. The practical effects are stunning, the visual effects are stunning, and this film has an amazing score from Hans Zimmer again. Guys, if you haven't seen Inception, or if you haven't seen any of Christopher Nolan's work, please watch it. You'll love it. I guarantee it. So I'm going to give Inception 5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
All right, let's go.
Alright everyone, so we are moving right along to episode 81 of Caleb Watches Movies, continuing on our journey to episode 100 and beyond, and the next movie that we're talking about is my favorite childhood movie. This is a movie that I would watch 3 times a day over the summer, just on repeat. Very quick film too, only an hour and a half. It was produced by Disney, and your hint, I guess, would have to be, attention campers, lunch has been canceled today due to lack of hustle. Deal with it. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. One of the best movie villains of all time in my book. So do you think you know what it is? Well, let's talk about it next time. So everyone, have you seen Inception? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, please comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And when you're done commenting, please like and subscribe to my channel so you know the next time I'm posting my next movie review. So everyone, I will see you next time with my favorite childhood film. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.